Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs postgame show podcast. Cubs lose to the Braves in the second game of the series, 9-2. Max Fried dominated the Cubs all game long for his second complete game of the season. Greg Braggs running the ones and twos says they were deep freed. Deep freed. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody, Delmendo. Yeah, he's been hanging around too much. He's like, "Is this okay?" I'm like, "This is beautiful.
This is a Luke
This
Stuckmeyer
is beautiful.
special.
That's TV magic over the shoulder right there.
I was going to say, don't.
That's a Gian Greco special right there. Deep fried.
That was Luke approved. So I see what you just did there.
I approve. I definitely approve. I don't approve of the way the game went. He's a good pitcher. Mm-hmm. B, the Cubs offense has been struggling. You put the two together, and the guy 3-hit you for 9 innings.
And 2 of those hits were Ian Happ.
Yes.
Like we all predicted.
And 9 strikeouts. I mean, he was that spectacular.
Yeah. You know how I went on that rant on Monday about how the Cubs couldn't score off Bailey Falter?
Yeah, this is different.
This is different. Like, that's why I didn't really complain too much about, getting blown out in a game against Paul Skeens or, losing on Sunday against Mitch Keller, who's been an all-star. Jared Jones, one of the best pitchers, rookie pitchers this year as well, on that Thursday game against the Pirates. The fact of the matter, as much as it's frustrating to watch these losses that the Cubs have had of late, tomorrow, if they don't win tomorrow, it will be their 3rd straight series they've lost. They've had to face a lot of really good pitchers, and tonight was, I thought Chris Sale was the best one they had faced over the span. Maybe Paul Skeens, just based off the fact he had 6 perfect innings, 11 strikeouts. But Max Fried, out of all the ones that they faced, complete game. You don't see complete games anymore.
He had a perfect game.
Yeah, perfect game for 5 innings. I think this is one where you just tip the cap. I know fans in our YouTube chat probably don't want to hear me say that, but it's not like it's a guy that it's not like he's Bailey Falter, like I said. Like he has plenty on the resume that suggests that he's one of the best pitchers in the league. And the Braves, in some ways, you can argue the Cubs are getting the Braves at the right time because their offense hasn't been very good against the Cubs this year. And I know they put up 9 runs, but a large majority of them came off Jose Cuas, who hasn't been good for the Cubs this year, right?
No, the live YouTube chat agrees with you on that comment.
Okay.
Don't look.
Well, all I'm saying is that
you're right.
Max Fried is really good, and so to me, considering the situation that they have going into tomorrow's game, like this was one that Steele was just absolutely going to have to outduel him for them to win, and he pitched really well, but. He also gave up a 2-run homer. So, it is what it is. This is one that I'm going to throw into Lake Michigan.
Yep. Flush it and say, see you in Green Bay. Michael Evans saying Fried was top shelf tonight in the live YouTube chat. One of the best pitchers in the league. Agree with that. Yeah. Shout out to everybody that has joined us already in the live YouTube chat. It's the best way to enjoy the CHGO experience is to subscribe to that CHGO Sports YouTube page. We appreciate that. I'm trying to see who put this in there. They were talking about the amount of home runs the Cubs have hit this year. And they're right. But it's something we said going into the season. I don't know if this team has enough home run power. No, they aren't hitting enough home runs. But 3 hits has nothing to do with home. Even if all 3 were home runs, you're likely doing nothing in this game. So while I understand everybody's upset that Jose Cuas wasn't good in this game, and he wasn't. It had very little to do with this game because they couldn't get anything going against Max Fried, and And this is also one of those games. Before I get to Justin Steele, I will say, though, we mentioned Skeens, we mentioned Jones, we mentioned Sale. Now we've had Fried. Charlie Morton's pitched against him. Like that. Yes, they have faced really good pitchers, and those guys have done really well against them. That's the problem. Is those are the guys you're going to face if you get to the playoffs. Well, if you truly are a playoff team, you've got to be able to beat some of those guys.
The thing is that the other good teams in the league are also having to face those guys, and the Cubs are one of 5 teams in the National League above 500 right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't.
That is crazy.
Like you're
in
not
the National
wrong.
League, no,
you're not
both
wrong.
Both things are true.
But I think it's also true that the Cubs are in a good spot, and I'll say this related to the offense. Like, yeah, it has to be better, but we've seen the offense be good in stretches this year, right? Has it been consistent? No, because injuries played a factor. Guys are going through slumps. Like, Ian Happ has hit the ball harder the last 2 days. Hopefully it's a good sign. 2 hits tonight, right? He had the double last night, and he also hit one for an out that could have been a double. So, again, it's 2 games. It means absolutely nothing in general, but hopefully it's a sign of things to come. Swanson had 2 hits yesterday. Not too much. They had 3 hits as a team, right? There's not a lot from the offense that you can say, but they need guys like Happ and Swanson to just start hitting. Those guys, over the course of their careers, they've shown that they'd hit. So far this year, they haven't really done that consistently, right? Right now, we're watching Bellinger and Seiya kind of go through a little bit of their own slump. And honestly, they're deserving of a little bit of a leash because they carried the offense for a large part of the season. You know what I mean? Mike Tauchman, going up against a lefty tonight, I can understand why he's not in the lineup, but he's been your most consistent hitter in the lineup. Why he's not in there, and we're putting freaking Nick Madrigal in there, make it make sense to me. I don't know. I can bicker and complain about guys in the lineup, where they're at in the lineup. At the end of the day, though, you got to perform. And right now, Mike Tauchman is the only one on this team that's consistently giving you good at bats and good production. He had 2 RBIs yesterday. And again, I understand why he wasn't in the lineup today because of the matchup, but I mean, when you're literally the only guy doing anything, like I would have been willing to run it back with him.
Yeah. Our guy Sean Caselli in the live YouTube chat says 11th time this month that the Cubs have scored 3 runs or fewer, the offense is cooked. Yeah, that is the story. And I know Sean had said earlier you can't just brush aside Jose Cuas. I'm not. It's just not the reason. Yeah. It's just not the reason they lost this game. Was he bad? Yes. Do I think he should be on the roster at the major league level right now? No, I don't.
Yeah. I don't think so either.
He may not be much longer.
Right.
And I think people will get their wish on that, but the offense is currently the big concern for me.
To answer Sean's comment related to, if anyone's asking, why did they bring in Jose Cuas? Well, you had the bullpen pitch 5 innings yesterday because the ass man
went 5 shutout.
Right. Bullpen pitched 5 innings yesterday. You already know you have a bullpen day tomorrow. And Ryan already tweeted that Ben Brown's going to start tomorrow. So you knew they were going to do everything they could to not pitch Brown. Wesneski pitched yesterday, and they've used Wesneski in these piggyback situations with Brown. And I know Porter Hodge pitched the 9th inning, but there was no way they're going to bring Porter Hodge into a mess to make his major league debut against the Braves.
No. And we're going to talk about him in a minute.
And the only reason I honestly think he came into that game was just because it was 9-2 in the 9th inning. It's a good spot. I was honestly surprised he didn't pitch on my birthday on Friday because that was a blowout too. And then the fact that you're not going to bring in Nearest or Leiter down in the 7th inning. Maybe it was a 2-run game when Steele came out. The only other option that would have somewhat made sense, and honestly it doesn't make sense, is bringing in Kyle Hendricks. He was the only other guy that they could have brought in that didn't pitch yesterday.
But that would have been a tough That would have been a tough debut in the bullpen for him.
Right.
Which
Tyson
obviously
Miller
they're trying to ease him into that situation.
Right. And Tyson Miller pitched 2 innings yesterday. You look at the bullpen and it's like they needed to push Steele a little bit longer. They tried. It didn't work thanks to a Zach Short bunt. again, Quas, yeah, like I've already admitted to being wrong about my hope about Jose Quas. So, I don't know what anyone else wants me to say about him. Like, only reason I think he's here is because Drew Smiley and Daniel Palencia are on the injured list right now, right?
Yeah.
So, like, that I can't think of a different scenario. Like, they either go to Leiter or Nearest too early in the game, or they bring in Kyle Hendricks. And who knows, maybe they get through, but they still have to do a bullpen game tomorrow. Like, it's one of those, like, lose-lose situations. That's why they needed Steele to basically outduel Fried tonight. And he was to me, he was good. The stat line doesn't look good because he gave up 5 runs, but 3 of those or 2 of them are because of Jose Quas.
Yeah, and I would
and
say
one of them was a freaking really good bunt by Zach Short. Like, I don't know. Like, the 2-run homer wasn't great. That's 6 homers on the year for him now, and he only gave up 14.
If you want to find a negative, don't look at the stat line. This is one of those games where back in the day, if you were to open up the paper to the old box score, which isn't a thing anymore, but now if you would go online and look at the box score, you would say, 6 1/3, 5 earned runs. He had 5 strikeouts and 1 walk. You'd say, that was a garbage start. He wasn't very good. No, he was for the most part going pitch for pitch with Fried early in the game. The home run is concerning because I forget what they said on there. It's like 6 home runs this season, and it was 13 or 14.
He had 14 all of last year.
All of last year. So
but
that's something that's something he needs to figure out, how to keep the fly balls in the ballpark, obviously.
Sure.
But beyond that, he looked more like the Justin Steele that we're used to seeing than he did in the previous 2 starts.
And that's why we're talking about the offense, because if he only gives up those 2-3 runs because of the Zach Short, sacrifice bunt, whatever you want to call that actual bunt, suicide squeeze.
Yeah. Which was a perfectly executed play.
Perhaps Wisdom should have played in more. I don't know. All I'm saying is it was 3 runs, and he entered the 7th inning. He entered the 7th inning, and he gave up 3 runs technically, right? Like, I thought it was a good step for him today. But you need the offense to show up, man. This is why this is why I stress I've been stressing the offense all season. This is why I've stressed the offense all season. Everyone's like vented and yelled and complained about the bullpen a ton, and rightfully so. Albert Alzolay he blew a bunch of saves, and some guys got off to bad starts and all that, but it feels like the bullpen has stabilized, and the starting pitching has stabilized because they've been able to go deeper into games. But because of the situation of not having a starter for tomorrow because Wicks ain't back yet, and you move Kyle Hendricks to the bullpen, you had to think about who you're going to pitch tomorrow, and that's why they went to Jose Quas there. And it sucks because it would have made a lot of sense to go to someone like Drew Smiley or Daniel Palencia if they weren't used there yesterday. You know what I mean? Like,
or Wisniewski.
Or if
he wasn't pitching probably some tomorrow.
Right. Like, that's why it's so important for the health of this team in the grand scheme of things. Like, I wish. I know I might be sounding way too rational, but it's just the fact of the matter. It's reality. Like, people are saying that we keep blaming injuries and this and that too much, but like, what would you have done if you were Craig Counsell in this situation?
It's no. I know everybody gets mad when they hear the word injuries.
Yeah,
it is a reality. It can't be the excuse for everything. It just can't, because you have guys that are not hurt, that are not performing to their level. That's the biggest problem. But number 2 on that list has been injuries so far early in the season. Now, I saw Chef said, Chef's always on here, and said something about don't sugarcoat it or
no, I'm not even
however you want about spin it any way you want. His ERA is 5.68. He's not been good. Now, he was good in his first 2 starts. And then his next, was this start 5? Or am I missing one? His first 2 starts were good.
Are you talking about since he came back?
Steele this year. His first 2 starts were good, other than obviously the injury. His first one back was good.
Yeah.
His first one of the season was good until he got hurt.
Basically.
Tonight was decent.
Yeah.
At the very worst, tonight was decent. Like, he looked good. The 2 after that, not good.
I don't know what you mean by sugarcoating Steele's performance. He was good. I'm not lowering it to decent. He
wasn't
was
good. That's what I'm saying. The stat line doesn't fully show the way he pitched tonight.
If you watch the game,
he wasn't great tonight. He wasn't Imanaga great if you're just looking at a box score. But I think if you're sitting there watching it and you're comparing it to Max Fried, no, he wasn't as good as Max Fried.
Yeah,
but
the rest of the league wasn't as good as Max Fried tonight.
He was pretty good.
Anyone else throw a complete game tonight?
Well, he would have had a quality start.
Yeah,
if Quas had
and that's
done
all
his
you
job,
can
he
ever
would have had a
ask
quality
for.
start. Yeah.
That's all you can ever ask for out of your starting pitcher. Chef Kevin, I appreciate your support, brother, but like I know you're always here, but like this is if there's anything that we should think about Justin Steele after this game is encouragement.
I agree.
Like, okay,
he
can't give up the homer, but it's not like he gave up 4 tanks.
No.
And after he gave up the homer, he retired 8 straight batters. And he still went into the 6th inning. And actually, into the 7th inning, I mean. Yeah, thank you. So, like, you have to score runs. If there's anyone we should be yelling about on this podcast, is the offense. The offense in general, not one particular player, the entire offense. Because the entire offense, over the last month, basically, just has not been good.
Missing in action. You know what's not missing in action right now? It is grilling season. Get your pork. People who are active need more protein than the average American. 1 3-ounce serving of pork provides 23 grams of high-quality protein that can help active individuals build and preserve muscle. The International Society of Sports Nutrition recommends that people who are involved in a general fitness program, I guess I am, or interested in optimizing their health, I am, eat low-fat, high-quality sources of protein, which include lean cuts of pork. So elevate your protein game with lean pork, a powerhouse of natural goodness. Savor the flavor, savor the gains, and celebrate any occasion by enjoying it with the best pork produced by Illinois pig farmers. From your sausage and bacon for breakfast, what a combo, to pulled pork or juicy chops hot off the grill, it's an entire season dedicated to pork and the people behind the product, paid for by the Illinois pork producers, generations of commitment. I love a good pork chop.
Ooh.
And I like to put a little barbecue sauce. They don't always need it. Good cut of pork, you don't need it.
Sweet Baby Ray's.
Sweet Baby Ray's kicks it up a notch.
That's the best one, yeah.
Kicks it up a notch.
You know what else goes good with a steak or
Penrose.
pork? Penrose seltzers, especially this summer. You know, you grill your pork, your steak, whatever. Mm-hmm. Nothing better while you're grilling it than with a Penrose seltzer. All right.
Smooth.
From Geneva, Illinois, local, Chicagoland. Love Geneva. Been out there before.
Nice
Seltz Up's hard seltzers with real fruit, led by Lemon Seltz Up, which I've tried before. Really good. National Gold Medal winning hard seltzer with real lemons. They created a unique twist on a lemon shake-up with a house-made hard seltzer and pureed lemons for a throwback to warm weather and county fairs. Also available is the Lemon Tea Up, a half-and-half inspired hard seltzer. And they just released this year the Transfusion Seltz Up, inspired by the popular golf cocktail with grape, ginger, and lime. So Penrose is available at your local beverage retailer, or you can visit their tap room in Geneva. Not too far if you're in the city, but
nice
if you're a
little
suburb
town.
person, I know there's people who listen to the show that's in the suburbs. Head on over to Geneva to their tap room. For more information, go to penrosebrewing.com or follow them on social media at Penrose Brewing.
Yeah, maybe you're on like a cicada tour. You're just going to view the cicadas around the suburbs and you just want to stop in and have a nice salsa.
You continue to be the only person
Talking about the cicadas.
However, I did hear Layla Rahimi on the score today say something related to cicadas.
See?
It has to be like
She likes to talk about nothing too, just like I do. And all the local news stations, they're just
like
going
cicadas.
They're just going crazy over it. And now here's Tom with the weather and Cicada Watch 20. Hey guys, Porter Hodge, did you see him? He provided the power for today's game presented by Illinois pork producers. Savor the flavor, savor the gains, and celebrate any occasion by enjoying the best pork produced by Illinois pig farmers. It was Albies, then it was Ozuna, then it was Olson. Porter Hodge mowed them all down. He almost had an immaculate inning in his major league debut.
Yeah.
Now, this is a guy, Porter Hodge, that we've kind of been hearing about for a couple years, especially on our podcast, because guys like Brian Smith keep telling us, I like Porter Hodge. You're going to see, wait till you see Porter Hodge. Porter Hodge is coming. And first of all, the name was, beautiful. It's one of the best baseball names I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, this guy, I can't wait to see him. This is my first, other than like Cactus League action, or this was it. This was our major league debut. He comes in at Wrigley Field, and there have been some pitchers that have had nice one-inning debuts at Wrigley Field.
Brandon Hughes is like the first guy I can think of.
He shot well. Wesneski was good too.
Yeah, Wesneski.
But this was a shove. This is a 13th round draft pick in 2019 that signed for like $125,000 just to not go back to the University of Utah. They got him for $125,000. He just made three
of the
big
best
dogs
hitters.
On one of the best teams in all of baseball, a guaranteed playoff team. The heart of their order. And I know the game was out of hand, so they were just like, I'm swinging for a home run or I'm getting to the hotel lobby. That's what they were thinking. But, man, he mowed him down. Don't take anything away from him. He threw 9 really good pitches.
Listen, like, hitters say this all the time, that they don't take at bats off,
Yeah.
because it comes down to their paychecks.
But did you see Ozuna? Ozuna was up there like a softball guy, just looking like, I'm either going to hit this out or I'm going to go home real
Maybe
quick.
him, just because he had already hit a home run tonight anyway. But,
I think he thought, major league debut, I'm going to show this kid what the majors are like.
Perhaps. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a guy that people have been talking about, in the minor leagues for a while. He was a guy that I thought maybe we could have perhaps seen earlier this year. I thought he was impressive in the spring, so that's why I say earlier. But, they waited until mid-May. That's fine. But, yeah, I mean, when people talk about how the Cubs have these, like, flamethrowers coming up through their own system, as far as top 30 prospects in the pitching end, he's one of those guys. So definitely a confidence booster if you're him. And, I think he's probably going to pitch tomorrow. If he's going to be like the opener tomorrow or something like that. Well,
I don't care
Ben
when
Brown's
it is.
gonna
I just
start,
want to
but-
see him pitch again soon. I see our guy Niren in the chat is back and said Porter Hodge, Luke Little, Palencia, some guys that have a resume in late innings. I looked at Porter Hodge tonight, and after the second strikeout, the first thing that popped in my mind was that guy could be a closer.
Yeah, I mean, he was throwing up.
I don't know a ton about him, but I just watched him and was like,
yeah,
okay.
I can't sit here and break it down. I'm sure Brendan
let's
could.
give
if
it
he
a
asked
couple
him to.
let's give it a couple outings, but I'm just saying that guy looks like a reliever, and he looks like a major league reliever.
Yeah, again, he was impressive in the spring. Take it all with a grain of salt because it was spring, but he definitely has the stuff. So, and he definitely showed that he had command. It was 9-2. So interested to see how they use him. Considering the situation tomorrow, will they bring him in a tight game? Say Ben Brown goes 5 innings, and he'd be a perfect guy to use in the middle innings. What if it's close? Like, what if it's a 1 or 2 run game? What if the Cubs lead by 1 or 2 runs and they bring him in? He seems to get his feet wet. Like, they're not just going to put him right away into high leverage, like late innings. Like, using him in those middle innings seems like something smart to do. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see it play out. And they're going to need guys like that to come up here and help the team, because Jose Cuas ain't getting it done, man.
And I know it's 1 inning. I know it's just 1 inning. I'm just saying it wasn't against chumps.
Yeah.
It wasn't against chumps, and he was at Wrigley Field against
Can't have nice things.
big
Luke.
hitters, and he made them look overmatched, which was a good sign.
Definitely take it with a grain of salt.
We've seen some of the pitching. We've been waiting for these young pitching prospects, the arms, because we were told the rebuild, whatever you want to call it, this time around was based on pitchers more than it was hitters, right? This time around, it was going to be on arms, and they were going to come back with big heat arms this time around, and that's what they were looking at. Well, the first guy we saw come up kind of was Killian, and it was a little disappointing. And then we saw someone, I don't remember who else all came up, but like one after another was like, Wesneski had a moment, and then he took a step back. Now he's starting to show again that he might have some stuff. Ben Brown has looked really good so far, I think, in my eyes, for a guy that's showing early in his career. Ben Brown's looking like he's going to be a major leaguer.
Yeah.
It's early. That was one outing. I liked what I saw one outing. Better than him coming in and getting blasted by the Braves.
Right.
Those three guys could have hit 3 home runs, and you would have had a whole different feel about his major league debut. He came in, and he dominated 3 big hitters.
Yeah. Well,
good sign.
The difference between him and Brown, too, is Brown came in, I believe the game was close. Wasn't it?
Against
the Rangers?
I believe tighter situation.
I thought the game was a a little bit closer, and then he gave up like 6 runs or something like that.
You'd have to sweep the cobwebs out of my brain.
Hodge comes in, it's 9-2, 9th inning, game over.
But again, don't put the pressure part. Don't hold that against him, because if it's a major league debut and it's at Wrigley Field,
it's already pressure anyway.
The pressure's out his ears, whether he wants to say it isn't or not. Next week, when somebody asks him about major league debut, or 15 years from now when he's done playing baseball, somebody will be like, hey, what was your major league debut, Bill? And he'd be like, I was going to vomit. Because that's what every player I've ever talked to said about their major league debut. They're like, I don't even remember what happened. It just happened. Or I was...
He has a great story to tell now.
Yeah, he does.
Striking out the side. Albies, Olsen, and Ozuna.
That's a 13th round pick.
Yeah. So
now that's what I taught. That's what we call potentially developing some young arms on your own.
Absolutely.
Not just drafting a guy with the number 1 or number 5 overall pick or number.
Yeah.
That's developing a guy.
Yeah. So I'm with
Positive.
you.
I like it.
I definitely love to see it. And if he pitches like that a few more times, he's gonna be like Brown and some of these other young guys who haven't been sent back to Iowa. And that's what I want to say. We could sit here and complain about how the Cubs haven't spent money in certain areas, whether it's that high-end starting pitcher, even though Shota Imanaga has literally been the best pitcher in the league this year. But let's use the offense, for example. Like you were complaining, or basically saying earlier in the first segment, that the Cubs offense, like when they have to go up against these types of pitchers, they just don't seem to have that guy that can generate anything.
Not right now. It doesn't matter who's pitching.
At least right now, right? And you can argue maybe they should have traded for Juan Soto. Maybe they should have signed Aaron Judge 2 years ago. Like all these things, if you really wanted to, right? And for the most part, I'm willing to hear people out on a lot of that. But when it comes to the bullpen, I would absolutely rather the Cubs be able to develop those guys from within and watch them blossom on the major league team, because that's what all the good teams do. That is a lot of times what the Brewers have done with their. What the Brewers have done with their bullpen. That is what teams like the Orioles have done with their bullpen. That is what the Yankees have done with their bullpen, and they're a team that spends money. That's all I'm saying is, if there's any part of the team that I want the Cubs to fully develop, mostly from within, is the bullpen, because then you don't have to waste your money on an Edwin Diaz, and then when things don't go well, you're like, man, I can't believe I gave all that money to him. He's not even their closer for the Mets anymore.
Edwin Diaz cried in the clubhouse the other day. He's been so bad,
right? Because as we've talked about, bullpens are so volatile, and you just never know what you're going to get on a year-to-year basis. So that's why I say that. That doesn't mean I don't want the Cubs to spend money. I wish they would spend more money, yes. But when it comes to the bullpen, I would much rather them be able to develop guys like Ben Brown, Hayden Wesneski, and Porter Hodge, and Daniel Palencia, and find guys like Mark Leiter Jr. on the street and turn them into elite relievers. You know what I mean? Like, I really would rather them do it that way and have success with it, because that allows you to spend more money on your offense or get that high-end starting pitcher and all of that. So I know people are going to take everything I just said and turn it into their own way they want to view it, but that's just how I view it. And I'm sorry to everyone that I've offended.
Cody, I was wondering, where can I get some tight money line splits?
Tight?
Yeah.
At
money
Circa.
Line splits. Thank you.
Circa Sportsbook. All right. Our friends at Circa, they're our sponsor for Friday 120 Club. love hanging out with them every Friday home game.
And they don't just sponsor; they show up and hang out.
They
That's
do.
the cool part about it. I think so. It's a partnership,
right? They have a great sportsbook casino out in Vegas. They got the casino and sportsbook in Waukegan, which we'll stop at on our way to
the takeover
from Milwaukee that we tweeted about today that we've been talking about. Yeah. They're great partners, all right? But their sportsbook, the app is great because they always have the best odds. The games strive to be a -110 split on their menu, unlike other sportsbooks, which may use -115 or -120. They keep as little money as possible on large market bets, especially compared to other books. They also don't limit players based on their winnings. Every player has the same limits, unlike other books who do limit winning players. They encourage bettors to download and explore all sports betting apps available, actually, so they can compare the lines from each sports book. And then we were just talking about how awesome people are to hang out with, but their customer service that's out at their sportsbook in Vegas at Circa Resort and Casino, they're great. They're great with customer service. A lot of the other apps, they use chatbots, which I hate. So you get to talk to real people, usually via email. They're pretty quick with it, and they help you out as fast as possible. So download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. And, again, be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. They're with us every Friday home game for Friday 120 clubs. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyourreallywinning.com.
Guys, I love to get my tickets no matter what I'm looking for. Game time. It's the only way to do it. Speaking of the Friday 120 Club, if you want to come hang out and go to the game and sit in the bleachers with the guys, Braggs and Cody will be there on the 31st. That's the next one.
Yeah, against the Reds.
Against the Reds. That's the next one. Check Game Time. Watch it. You'll get your best deal there. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch of the game. So with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, and views from your seat, and their low price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets to baseball games. But it's not just baseball. For instance, Rolling Stones are going to be at Soldier Field coming up in June. Check it out on Game Time. Pearl Jam at Wrigley Field. Eddie Vedder coming back in August. Check it out on Game Time. Hey, Braggs. Is it too soon to think about Bears-Packers November 17th at Soldier Field?
It absolutely is not.
It is not. It's time. You know what it is? It's time to start watching. It's time to start monitoring what those ticket prices are doing. Keep an eye on it. Pounce. Because by that point, 17th, that's when the Bears' real season starts.
Yep.
That's when the real season starts, and that's going to be the game you want to go to for sure if you're picking just one this season. They also have zone deals. You can save even more when you choose a section and then let Game Time choose the seats. It's a cool way to do it. Your purchase, by the way, covered by their ticket coverage. It's the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, go ahead, create an account, then redeem with the code for very important letters in your life, CHGO. $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute deals, lowest price, guaranteed.
So
I saw Michael in the chat asking where we're meeting for the start of the Friday 120 Club. And Michael, as always, we will start at Murphy's Bleachers right outside the bleachers entrance across the street there, the corner of Waveland and Sheffield. We'll be there bright and early, around 9:30, 10 a.m. or so. Then we'll go into the
usually
bleachers.
10.
Yep.
Because that's when they open.
Yeah. Well, but I feel like once school gets out, they're going to start opening earlier. Potentially, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but that's a good thought.
Yeah. So, well, regardless, we'll be there in the morning, and then we'll be out.
And
in the bleachers.
we bring the Friday 120 shirts with us, like for people to buy.
Yep.
And we've like sold out the last 2 weeks.
Yep, they're running a restock of them.
Restocking these bad boys.
They're reprinting a whole new line because we burned through the whole first set.
The whole stash.
Yeah. Everybody's loving
Had to
them.
reprint those bad boys down in Florida,
I got
right?
two
Reprint
more
those in
because I'm
Florida?
bringing my family to the next one because it's my daughter's 6th birthday.
Wow.
Well, hopefully her birthday goes better than my birthday
Yeah,
did.
Cody's birthday didn't go great, so we're gonna try.
Should I bring the
I
"It
can't
is my
wait."
birthday" sign?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
She
think
can hold it up.
I'll
You
do
still
an
have
Abby
it.
sign for
Make her a new one.
Yeah, I'll make her a nice one.
Have her hold up. I'm 6 and right field sucks.
Yeah, that would be
yeah,
good.
there you go.
That'd be good.
I like
That'd
that.
be good.
I'm 6 and right fields. Yes, I needed that smile.
Skyline Chili sucks.
That's good.
Because it's the Reds, right?
I do like that side. That was like the first thing I thought came up to my mind when it came to the
Enjoy your
Reds.
bowl of poop.
Related. You remember earlier in the game, or early, not the game, the podcast mentioned how there's only 5 teams in the National League that are above 500.
Over 500.
Or over 500.
Because I think the Padres are 500.
Yeah. I was looking at the American League, and there's 7. So
Yeah.
it's, even in the American League, which is clearly a better, like, over the course of time, last 5-10 years, I feel like the American League is just always better than the National League. But even they, like, I just think a lot of teams just haven't fully gelled yet. You're looking at, like, I think right now, if you look at the National League, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's like the Phillies and everyone else. Like, I still think the Dodgers have pitching issues that, I don't feel like they have really fully gelled yet. I was saying earlier that the Braves are, their offense hasn't necessarily got it fully going yet. Their pitching's there, so if their offense gets going, then yeah, they're going to be there. In Milwaukee, they just lost 2 or 3 to the Marlins, but they are playing way better than anyone expected. Cubs 2 games back, 27-23.
A lot of baseball left to play.
Yeah.
A lot of baseball.
I understand a lot of people's frustration. Don't get me wrong. I'm frustrated too. Every time I have to sit here and watch them lose. But
It just looks like last year's team. That's the fear.
I don't
Yeah, but the pitching's
I don't
way
agree
different.
with that, though.
Imanaga's
I
not
don't agree with this
last
team
year's.
looking like last year's team, though.
Their
That's the
starting
Now, the
pitching
offense-
is better, right?
the
Is that
yeah.
the difference? But Justin Steele was better last year than this
Yeah,
year.
but
I
he's
know
so
been
far.
hurt
But he's
so
also
far.
been hurt.
He's been hurt, but Imanaga's been better than
He's been
Steele
great.
was even last year.
No
so-
question.
Last year, the Cubs gave a combination of Tucker Barnhart, Trey Mancini, and Eric Hosmer over 500 plate appearances. The offense, yes, right now is struggling. Will it be better? It needs to be, and I'm willing to bet that it will be. Will it be one of the top offenses in the league? Probably not, but it has to be better than what it is right now. But the thing is that I just said the same type of things about some of the other good teams. Like I just said, the Braves offense. You look at up and down the Braves offense right now. Like Matt Olson has not looked good against the Cubs. I know he looked good against Jose Cuas, but everyone's looking good against Jose Cuas right now. All right, Marcell Ozuna has been carrying them. Ronald Acuna has not looked like MVP Ronald Acuna. Will all those guys get it together? I'm willing to bet that they will. The point is that every team, they're not just great for 162 games. They're gonna have peaks and valleys of like who's playing good and who's not playing good.
Who is this guy? He's the voice of reason all of a sudden.
Love it.
That's supposed to be my role.
If they were under 500, I'd be a lot more worried
right.
and a lot more pissed off.
Yes.
But they're not. They're 27 and 23. Like,
If you zoom out-
I think I'm allowed to have a little bit of optimism.
Yes, I agree.
I am allowed to have that, and I think anyone else who does too can too. You can also
what was
be
their record at this point last year? I mean,
under 500. Under 500
right?
at this
Because
point.
they went on a huge
with less
run.
injuries.
Because they were terrible.
They went
in
on a
May.
huge run in early July.
Less injuries.
They went
saved
in May of last year. They went 10 and 18. They're right around 500 for the month
And it
of
is
May.
getting to that time of year where the bats are going to start heating up. The summertime heats up, and the bats start heating
The
up.
first time a team even really looks at what do we have, unless they're one of the 3 worst teams in the league, the first time they even look at what do we have this year and what kind of team do we really think we're pushing towards, Memorial Day. Mm-hmm. And the Cubs are going to have gone through a lot of injuries. So we'll
Now,
see where it's at. Don't get me wrong. It's been tough to watch the offense the last couple of weeks. It has been brutal.
And we're honestly, I'm out of excuses for the offense because the offense is now healthy.
Yeah.
I don't understand why we're playing Nick Madrigal still, but like other than that, like your offense is healthy. You can deal with Miguel Amaya and Yan Gomes in your 9-hole if everyone else is at least producing. They need the rest of the offense to produce.
If I hadn't seen the offense thriving early in the season,
Sure.
I'd be really concerned. My guess is they're not as good as they were early in the season, and they're not as bad as they are right now. So they're
You
probably
need it to even it out.
and you probably need a little extra help come the trade deadline or
That
from
too.
the prospect level.
Yeah.
That's probably what we're going to be looking at. By the way, bad news. I was one that said, "Hey, give him a spark." Some people think I'm crazy. I said, "Bring up Brennan Davis. The guy's hitting home runs like he's taking batting practice at Iowa. Bring him up."
What did you do?
He left today's game in the middle of the game
Why?
with trainers. They don't have it. They're just going to
We'll know
evaluate
more
and see
tomorrow.
what they're going to know more tomorrow. But
Yeah.
what I was told was that he dove for a ball and then played a couple more innings and then all of a sudden just walked off the field. So we don't really know. But if it's an injury, which leaving with the trainer certainly sounds like that. Boy, you just hope it's not bad. You hope it's just a small thing because
your
the guy finally got healthy and
He was having an insane month.
crushing it. Again, he was the number 16 prospect in all of baseball just a couple years ago. And you can't give up on him. He's 24.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's all right. But real disappointing to see that for anybody that watches.
I'm curious, like, say we come back tomorrow and, it was more of a precautionary thing and he's in the lineup for Iowa or maybe he sits for a day or two.
Could have had the flu. He could have felt sick. I don't know.
Whatever. Like,
Nobody in Iowa or anywhere else that's watched the game could tell me this is what it looked like he hurt. He wasn't hobbling off the field. He wasn't holding his shoulder. He wasn't. There was no sign of anything that he had done or went. So
yeah.
just don't know.
Yeah. For me, I lean that it's more of a precautionary thing, and that's just my general optimism, trying to help my mental health here. But I guess what I was getting at is like I truly was wondering how much longer that they were going to need to see him do what he was doing down there, because his offense could certainly use the bat, man. Like, you weren't wrong with what you said the other day. Like,
Why wouldn't you try it?
right.
That's just my opinion. It's not like you have to have him up for. You're forced to keep him here for 3 months. Like, you call him up, see how he does, put him in the lineup, see how it goes.
Right. It's not like
Try and take advantage of a really hot bat. It's not like you're bringing somebody up that was an unknown prospect. He was your number one prospect. He was ahead of PCA.
Yeah.
So now on the flip side of it, you have a guy pushing towards the end of his career. You're right. I've only coughed 8 billion times this season. You're pushing towards the end of his career. You look at Kyle Hendricks, and the big news the other day was they're going to move him to the bullpen this time through. He's not making his start tomorrow. He was supposed to start tomorrow. Now, he's been in the bullpen already the last 2 nights. Our guy, Ryan Herrera, we're waiting to hear from him at beautiful historic Wrigley Field. He got us this sound pregame talking to Hendricks. The reporters got around. Hendricks spoke, and he was very optimistic about embracing this role. This is a veteran guy who could just say, I don't want to do it. I think he knows it's his last shot with the Cubs to try and get it right, is to do this in the bullpen. This is Hendricks earlier today at Wrigley Field.
In the challenge in a way. It's been great just down there with the guys, already one game. But just big opportunity, obviously, to try and turn things around. Still trying to work on things and get some game action, and just try and contribute, help the team win any way I can.
So I guess the question's going to be, how soon can you be ready, and how many times a week would that be in your mind?
Yeah, we're going to feel that out, the process obviously, but ready to go. I was ready last night if needed, so here going forward, we're just going to see what situation presents itself. When they call down, Craig's been so good, managing a bullpen in general his whole career, and it's been great this year with our guys, so I'm not worried about that in the least. I'm just excited when the opportunity does come to get in the ball game and see how it goes, and then we'll play the routine from there.
Because of the way your situation's been, were you expecting this to happen?
Of course. You expect something to happen. We know it was just going terrible, obviously, so you can't put up those kind of results. We're in a win-now kind of mode, and that's exactly where I want to be. I want to be part of a team that's winning. I just want to be doing my part to contribute to that winning. So I wasn't doing that. So now, hopefully, a little reshape of focus and perspective, see something new out there. And hopefully I can, like I said, work on the things I need to work on, turn it around, and just help the team get some wins.
Is it goal to be a starter again?
My goal is just, honestly, to make good pitches. Make good pitches and get some outs. See the results that come from it. But I got to focus on my process and just the pitches I'm making when I'm out there. and I just want to contribute in any way. So obviously, I just love being out there with the ball, love baseball, love pitching. So that's kind of where I'm trying to come from right now.
So can you grow a beard or cut your hair into a mohawk?
Yeah, we're talking a lot down there. Trust me. I think I might need like a little celebration now. I might need some more energy. They're telling me a lot of stuff. Grow a beard. So I don't know. We're gonna see where it takes me. Yeah.
He's not changing his entrance song, but I still think something like Kid Rock, ball with a ball, maybe coming in something.
Right, if he really did
something
like grow out a
polar
beard.
opposite of what Kyle Hendricks is would be funny. If they surprised him with it, would be even funnier.
Legitimately though, if he did grow out a beard, I would just fully talk myself into Kyle Hendricks elite like bullpen arm. If he just showed up in a week with a beard somehow, some way,
Were those not the perfect answers, though? I mean, that's a guy that could be anything he wants to when his playing career does come to an end.
Yeah.
He could be front office. He could be a manager. He could be a pitching coach. He's as smart of a baseball player and baseball mind as the Cubs have had come through the organization. So, he realizes as much as all of we do that, this is potentially his last shot. He knew he wasn't pitching well. He even said he was surprised that on the last time out he got that opportunity. So we have one more soundbite that Ryan got. Yeah.
Did either of you guys see that picture somebody put up on Twitter of the stud pitcher from the Pirates? And
Skeens?
Yeah, and it showed Hendricks and Skeens and they're different, like. Did you see this, Cody, with their different mechanics?
Yeah, they're complete different
It
pitchers.
was such bullshit. I was like, "What are you? Why is this?"
Where
even
was
a
it? It was from here?
comparison? No.
Wait, what are you even comparing it to?
Yeah.
I got an idea.
And let's see when Skeens does 27 up, 27 down to put your team into the World Series.
Or when Skeens pitches Game 7 of the World Series to
Amen.
break a 108-year drought. Let me know.
What I was going to say is, and this is just this will go with what we're about to show, but I was listening to Justin Steele's podcast today, and I don't remember what they were talking about in particular, but he mentioned something about how when players face the music after a bad start or whatever, like instead of like trying to avoid the media, which leads to the media talking to them about that person or whatever.
There's a lot of those guys.
It's something that people don't like guys in the clubhouse don't forget or, go unnoticed, like we as fans in general probably don't really give two shits, but if you want to talk about the kind of person that Kyle Hendricks is, or a guy that is, I think during this entire process or time of him struggling, he has faced the music. He has always answered the questions, and he didn't have to be available to talk today, but I don't know if the Cubs asked him to do it or if he just said he would, whatever. I don't know.
I'm sure there were a bunch of requests, and he said sure.
Right. So to me, no matter it's everything aside from the struggles and all of that, it's something that when you listen to other athletes talk about that kind of stuff, it kind of gives you a perspective of respect for a guy who has earned respect, at least from Cubs fans. He's no Hall of Fame or anything, but he's got 10 years in the league. He's being really good.
A Cubs Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Down the road someday, he will be a Cubs Hall of Famer. He's almost to the 10 years of service time, which would get him the full pension at the end of June. I hope that's not even a factor. I hope that the bullpen thing works. It seems like he's not the right fit for that.
Right.
But what Kyle Hendricks does seems like it's not the right fit for Major League Baseball sometimes too. So this is Kyle Hendricks. Ryan Herrera got this sound too. This is Hendricks talking about how counsel and he have kind of worked through this decision, because again, you're talking about a guy who was the rival manager through the first 9 years of his Major League career, and now he's a guy that's trying to decide what's going to happen to the future of Kyle Hendricks, who's the longest tenured Cub out there now. The last guy left from 2016, still playing currently on this roster. So here's Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah, it started a few weeks ago, honestly, when this whole, when all this kind of started, those conversations happened, and they're still going on. So, yeah, I'm kind of in that same space, but I really feel like I'm talking to the right people, I'm doing the right things, but it's just how I go about it now. How do I go about it when I got the ball in my hand, when I'm out there on the mound? That's the only thing that I really need to focus on and put in the front of my face. So again, I'm just excited to get those reps. Keep doing it. Keep taking care of the work I am off the field, but just excited for the opportunities to actually work on it. What I've been working on, I am on the mound.
You
How would
prove
you
people
describe the way
wrong.
that council kind of communicated with you and handled this situation in the last couple weeks?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, honestly, just to give me the ball again, to give me another opportunity after how it started, I was super thankful for that. I mean, he knows where I've been at, what I've done, and how this year's been going, so I'm not expecting anything, So to be called in that office, and yeah, it was simple, just giving the team the best chance to win. This is what has to happen. Of course, I understand that. I'm in the same boat. It's a very easy discussion, to be honest with you. He's a pro. He's been around a long time, so I just appreciate the respect and the honesty that he had with me.
All right, so that's good that the Cubs are playing this the correct way. Again, if it was a different pitcher, it's possible that he wouldn't be getting this opportunity. It's possible that they would have said goodbye to a player and moved on. But this isn't just another guy. This is Kyle Hendricks, and it's a guy who's over and over kind of done it his way and surprised people over and over. He did come back and have one decent outing in there, and he has had some smaller, like 1 or 2 innings or first time through the order, so maybe that will translate. If it doesn't, they'll deal with it. But
I think we were both a little surprised he didn't get into the game tonight.
I thought it was possible he was coming in after Kwas.
Right.
But then I was like, you know what? That's almost...
What if they really surprise us and he gets in tomorrow's game?
That's almost a... I don't know. It wouldn't be disrespectful, but it almost would have been like marching him out there just to like... I think they want it to be a more high leverage situation than that. They don't want like the game on the line, but I also don't think they want it to be 9-1 and he's at Wrigley Field and you're just kind of marching him out there like a horse that can't get around the track anymore. I don't think they want that either. Okay, Ryan's ready for us, huh?
He's wearing a Hawaiian.
Oh, he's got the Hawaiian shirt out.
How many times have they lost when you wear the Hawaiian?
What did you say?
I said, how many times have they lost when you wear the Hawaiian?
How many times have they won when I wear the Hawaiian?
That's right.
That's the real question.
Ryan,
I would answer both questions. I would like to know.
You do the research and let me know because I don't know the answer to that.
I'm gonna be like you, and I'm gonna go watch every podcast of every home game that we've done.
Add up the stats,
and I'm gonna add them up.
That's
I'm gonna give you those are real Dell metrics. All right. Whenever I come back and it says that you have a losing record when you wear a freaking Hawaiian,
and then
we're gonna have to change some things up, brother.
Hey, Ryan, I was saying that I know Kyle said he's not gonna change his entry song, and he's not necessarily growing a beard. We don't know what's happening yet. I said maybe a little Kid Rock would be funny, but then I was thinking as we're playing the soundbite you got, which, by the way, credit to you, center cut again. Center cut.
We will give you that. We will give you that.
Elise Medeker's not getting in your way.
Yep.
She was off to the side. Bruce Levine, off to the side. Ryan Herrera, wearing a Hawaiian, center cut. Center cut shot. So credit to you for that. I was thinking, you know what? It's not Kid Rock. EDM. He needs to find a good EDM song to come into because that's what Ryan. That's what Kyle and I like. Kyle and I like to when we go home we relax a little EDM in our cars.
Yeah, for sure. No, if you have good recommendations, I'll pass them along to him.
David Guetta's one, and I don't remember the other guy.
CHGO.
You realize how much of a national treasure you are?
Yeah, right.
Like just honestly, we just need a podcast of you just. Talking EDM, just like not on this feed because no one would want to listen to that. But just
right. No, well, actually, nobody does, even my family.
If you are a fan of Luke Stuckmeyer, the person,
Daniel says EDM is not relaxing. Luke, you're not doing it right, Daniel. Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny's considered EDM. I know Bad Bunny. I didn't think Bad Bunny was really called EDM. Anyways, Ryan, what did you think of all those Hendricks comments? To me, it just seemed authentic. It was like right on brand for Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah, and I think one of the I guess cooler parts to see is he's like authentic for sure, but like he seemed to me legitimately excited about the opportunity. Some guys, because like realistically, you're starting pitcher for this long, you can move to the bullpen. It's a demotion, right? Like it's just words, but it is a demotion. And a lot of guys may not take it as well as Kyle, but he seemed like genuinely excited to you know what, I wasn't doing very well. We know that, like, everyone saw it, and this is a way that hopefully I can get back to pitching more like myself and help this team win, which we know I wasn't doing. Like, so, yeah, I think authentic is the best way to put it, because he to me seemed genuinely excited to be moving to the bullpen, trying something new, trying something different, trying to find what's eluded him for basically the entire season this year. And like we said yesterday, like, I don't know if this is going to work out. I don't, he doesn't necessarily have the stuff you want out of a bullpen guy, the velocity, but it's a way that they're going to try to get some number of effective innings out of Kyle, whether that's 2 to 3 inning bursts, whether that's an inning in lower or higher leverage, whatever it is. This is how they're going about trying to get more effectiveness out of Kyle Hendricks, and I was glad to see him, like, seem genuinely, like, again, excited for the opportunity.
Trying to stay positive about the situation as much as you can. Do you have an update? I thought I saw an update on ALLCITY coming across today. Where is Adbert at? I mean, you're talking about another bullpen guy, and we had some people saying that he's definitely having Tommy John. What's the latest on him?
Yeah, so he let me find this update, but he's going to be shut down for at least the next 2 weeks, as far as what counsel said. He did get that second opinion, saw a doctor, and, like, they're obviously not rushing the process, and Craig Counsell said they're kind of treating it conservatively. Asked if surgery honestly was on or off the table. He didn't really give a definitive answer. Like, it's not off the table by any means. It's not like they know they're going towards surgery or anything like that, but it's also not off the table, like, especially as they go through the 2 weeks and, whatever's lingering or whatever it is. Like, basically the word is he's going to be shut down from throwing for at least 2 weeks at minimum, and they'll just know more about next steps and where to go from there after that down period.
Porter Hodge, huh? I mean, I know there's a lot of negative to come out of that game, but I will remember Porter Hodge's major league debut at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, nearly immaculate inning.
Yeah.
Right? Like, one ball, right? One ball. I don't remember who it was to, but one ball in the inning. Yeah, he was. It's funny because you guys asked, like, where's Porter Hodge yesterday? Like, is he there? Is he actually there? And I'm like, yeah, he's there. But, Craig Counsell said kind of when he called up, or when they called up Hodge a few days ago, one of the things was, like, it was kind of fast for him, right? He had just kind of gotten called up to AAA. Like, it was similar to PCA. Like, he was up because they needed arms. They needed guys that they could use. And not that I don't think he was necessarily avoiding him, but I do think it was kind of like, this guy hasn't pitched in the big leagues yet. We're playing, mostly a bunch of close games, just not the right situations to put him in. Today seemed like the right situation to put him in, and he looked plenty effective, right? Like, yeah, 3 strikeouts, one swinging, 2 looking. So, a lot of praise, obviously, from Craig Counsell, Ian Happ, we talked to Postgame, Justin Steele, all guys praising Porter for what he did. And, the guy, obviously, again, like you said, not a lot of positives to take away from this game, but a guy to make his debut and shut down that part of the order was a good sign to see in a game, just a rough game overall.
What's the setup for tomorrow, pitching wise? Because we were, some people were thinking, like, maybe Hodge would be the opener, but that's not the case for tomorrow. Hodge.
Ben Brown will. Yeah. No, yeah. It will not be Hodge anymore. Yeah, Ben Brown is starting tomorrow, which I mean, I would say when they didn't put Brown in, to me, when Brown didn't come in after Steele. Not that I felt like they were giving the game away, but they had intentions of starting Brown, and we're hoping that Quast could keep the game where it was, and obviously he didn't. The move didn't work out. But yeah, Ben Brown tomorrow. I don't think this is like he's in the rotation type thing for now. But they need a starter for tomorrow, and Ben Brown's they're going to hope Ben Brown gives them some length, gives them some effectiveness, and gives them a chance to win. They got a chance to win the series against the Braves tomorrow and tie the season series, I believe. So that's what they're going to be relying on for Ben Brown.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were kind of talking about that earlier as far as, why they brought in Jose Cuas. It just felt like there was to me, there was no other option in that moment other than going to Kyle Hendricks, to be honest with you. Maybe going to, one of the guys who pitched yesterday, but it was also, it wasn't the 8th or 9th inning, and they were down, so they were down 2 runs. So I don't know. What were your thoughts on who they perhaps should have brought in that moment whenever Steele came out?
I mean, like I said, I was thinking it could have been Brown at the moment. Like, he's been pitching pretty well with guys who got used in the last couple of days. Didn't really seem like, I don't know for sure. Again, like I said, Brown was my first expectation until obviously Cuas started warming up. I know I looked at Cuas's numbers the last couple times out had actually been fine, right? But obviously he's a guy that hasn't completely earned the trust of obviously fans, and I don't even think us up here in the press box. I don't know about the coaching staff. He doesn't have that trust yet in those very high leverage situations. So again, just a move that didn't work out. Myself maybe wouldn't go to Jose Cuas, but don't know exactly who was available. Obviously, some guys pitched yesterday and guys pitched over the weekend. So the move that Craig Counsell decided to make, and it just didn't work out.
All right, get to who you got. I don't know who won this. I know I had Christopher Morel, so that didn't work out for me tonight. I mean, they only had 3 hits.
Should have taken Happ.
Fried was that good.
Yeah.
Somebody should have taken Happy.
Corey's right. Like, not even the power of manifestation can save Nick Madrigal.
Seiya had some bad.
Nick Madrigal, not only did he do nothing at the plate, he didn't look great on defense.
Did Nico
Don't
have
let me
one
go
of the
on a
hits?
tangent.
Did Nico have one of the hits? Did Nico?
No, Happ had 2 hits, and I don't think
Swanson had one.
Swanson had an infield hit. Yeah.
Nico wins for having won the game the night before.
Or we could just give it to Joey.
Yeah, we're giving
or Braggs.
Braggs.
Or we can give it to Corey because he didn't pick someone.
Corey for not picking anyone. The people that played all get a loss.
That's fine with me. I don't care.
I don't know. This one's
And Corey can't read.
And Corey can't read.
For those of you listening on the audio side,
Well, what happened was he put Seiya in Slack, but it was after Ryan put Seiya in Slack. So he pulled a Brendan, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Because last week he was giving Brendan a lot of shit. Shut up, Ryan. He was giving Brendan a lot of shit.
Shut up, Braggs.
All right, let's put a bow on this.
I love you, Ryan. You know I love you, Ryan.
This is the last time the Cubs will have to face Max Fried until the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's positive.
I won't go on my tangent again.
No.
Honestly, I think
from the tangent.
You guys should give it to me because Barbara has been onto something here this season. She says every time I produce, the Cubs lose. And I feel like she's giving a peace offering here to me to give me the win.
I don't think
and
so.
Maybe this will manifest me to produce more wins for you guys when I'm behind the screen because it is a little frustrating. You know how much I love you guys and I love my Cubs to come here and watch these losses.
I mean, Chad is really in the dumps. Playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're one of 5 teams in the National League.
Above 500.
Above 500.
In the playoffs. Firmly in the second wild card spot. Season's over, though. We'll see y'all tomorrow for the season-ending game.
That's right, and for the post-game show.
I got one thing.
I've sorry. Seen the final nugget.
I've seen the comments. I've seen a couple in our chat. I think the Godfather might have said it that Steele should end his podcast because he's been bad ever since the podcast came out. And I have to disagree because Cody does a daily podcast, and he had a line drive ripper in softball on Monday.
So it's not the podcast.
Some
guys handle that pressure, though.
Cody's
Listen, some of us are just built different.
Podcasting doesn't take away skill. Yeah. If anything, it adds to him because we've seen him swing the bat before. Mm. And that was the best swing he's ever put together.
And also, to end the show, Steele wasn't bad tonight. God. All right.
Okay.
I'm done.
All right, thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs postgame show podcast. Cubs lose 9-2 to the Braves. They're back at it tomorrow. Ben Brown on the mound, and we will be here for a full hour postgame show after that. 1:20 start at Wrigley Field. Weather's supposed to be amazing. Hope it's the game's as good as the weather. We'll see you then. Until then, thanks for watching and fly the W.
Love you all. Goodbye.
Go to bed, kids.
We all silly like the mayor.